So, swimming hole looks fun, but in fact, it was horrible.
This was a scene that I think a lot of us were excited to shoot until we really got there and then realized how difficult it was going to be.
It was another, like, we were all suffering together moment.
Yeah, Spence, how much sleep did you get last night?
Not enough, dude.
We had to bring all this gear down with us. And it wasn't just like a far walk, it was really hard to traverse.
Especially toward the end where it gets really steep.
Then even once we were at where we wanted to film, it was difficult to get from place to place.
We had to pretty much ADR everything from that day because it was so loud.
I'm yelling, I'm losing my voice yelling across because it's so loud and the actors can't hear me. We didn't have walkie-talkies.
And he's just like, I needed you to speak up. And I'm like, what?
Can you yell for it? You want me to yell? How loud can you?
We didn't even know where the camera was gonna be when we got there because the water level was completely different from where it was when we scouted 6 months ago. So it was like figuring out everything on the fly.
We were like halfway through the day and we only had a couple of shots done.
All right, we're recording.
I think we got the fewest number of shots that day compared to like what we were trying to get.
The whole thing was just kind of a disaster. Connor and I just decided, you know what, let's just bare bones it, just whatever we can. Like, let's just get a tiny bit of coverage for each thing just so we can kind of finish the scene.
The mood's kind of tanking again because it's like, oh man, like we're not getting what we need to.
Like nobody was really psyched about like what we just got.
And we objectively didn't get enough to make sense of the scene as it was in the script. But the sun was going down, so we had to hike up before we're like climbing on rocks at night.
And it's about like 200 yards up this like steep hill carrying all this set equipment.
We all get back up to the house and we're all exhausted from being in the sun all day.
I'm sitting there with Andrew and Connor, like always.
We're talking over the day and how it could have gone better and how we were going to do shoots later for it.
And then this truck pulls up and a man gets out.
Immediately I'm like, uh-oh, like this does not look like he knew people were gonna be at his house.
He's walking towards the house and I say, hello, sir.
And he doesn't even like acknowledge Andrew.
And walks into his house.
Slams the screen door behind him.
He pulls out his phone, dials the number, and then he says,
who are these people? Why is all this stuff here?
And this man had a very colorful vocabulary, much more colorful than rainbows.
And I say, excuse me, sir, like I talked with your daughter, we're allowed to film here, and that's the truth.
The image that's burned in my head from that day is looking at this very angry man from a screen door with a small poodle-esque dog in his hand on the phone, yelling at someone, some unknown suffering individual.
And Spencer walks back into the garage and he kind of looks at people and he's just like,
He says going around like this.
And everyone's just like, oh, okay, yeah, woo, what's up, Spencer? And I'm like, no, like, let's go, like, we need to go.
Spencer's like, let's go.
Andrew and Spencer were kind of running interference, but that man would not be stopped for anything.
He's like freaking out that we're on his land. And so he's like trying to reclaim it like this soldier.
He won't have it. He storms right past me and he goes right over to Titus,
who is our drone operator.
Because he looks like the oldest man on set. And he goes, are you the senior man in charge?
And Titus replied with,
well, I'm a senior man, but I'm not in charge.
The guy probably didn't even know what to say after that. He just kind of looked at him like,
this guy has a new argument now. And it's not just, who are you guys? Because we had solved that problem. But now his new argument was, you guys moved all my stuff.
You moved my chair. You moved all my stuff.
I said, I sat in the chair and maybe it moved a little bit, but I'm not moving your stuff around. And he's like, don't BS me. And he's just like up in my face.
I'm there like with all of my gear and everything, like all of it's just sprawled out, like all over everything. And I mean, it's plugged in, it's probably using his electricity. So I'm like, this guy's gonna like knock me out. He's gonna kill me. Like, this guy's insane.
Connor and him are like flying crates out of there, and everyone's moving at 300%.
We're like rushing to the cars, you know, like a get to the chopper kind of like moment.
It's just so awkward. And then he's hitting the garage door button, and we're all running out of the garage door,
grabbing everything, is, you know, power cords, all this stuff, and I've just got it in my arms.
Titus is packing his drone up as fast as he can.
Both me and Titus are just seeing like those doors almost in slow motion from the garage. Those garage doors, both of them are just impending doom.
And Titus is like, grabs his drone, is like running towards the garage.
He almost gets decapitated.
Titus like squeezes under the garage door.
And then of course it ricochets and goes back up and it's doing the kind of thing.
And he's just pushing it over and over.
And it's coming back down, and it's like this weird thing going on.
And Alex is the last man in the garage.
And so I'm going through the other one, seeing what's happening with Titus.
And he's running for the garage door, and he's like Indiana Jonesing, like getting under.
I remember like just one of my power cords fell. And I had to like reach right back and like grab it, like, and it was just, I mean, seconds away. And so we're not even sure who's in what car or anything, but we just know that we have to get out of there.
We get home, and then almost immediately, I think everybody kind of came to the same conclusion of just how ironic it was.
Because we realized here we are, we're shooting this scene with Mr. Phallicson kicking like Duke's gang out of his swimming hole.
And what do you know? We have a real life Mr. Phallicson.
What the heck did we just witness?
Oh my God. We just witnessed.
I think it was a real Phallicson.
That was a real Phallicson.
I
said that.
That's what we say, yeah.
It was kind of a highlight in a way. Like, it was kind of scary in the moment, and like nobody was expecting that to happen, but then we all just were able to laugh about it.
Dude, if he showed up with only Dodge, with only Dodge there, dude.
Just sitting, and all of a sudden he's just like, who are you? What is all this stuff?
So even though like, oh man, we didn't get all the shots, it was really frustrating at points during the day. In the end, when we all came together, we were all like laughing and smiling.
You have to include the part where he goes up and he's like, "Are you the senior man in charge?"
Tyson wrote this song about the real life Mr. Phallicson.
It's just like became like this weird little jingle of like, you don't know where my stuff goes.
Don't BS me, you don't know how my stuff goes.
It was just a good ending to kind of a bad day.
Once that door closed and it was like, there's no way we can go back and film here again, because we were planning on reshooting there later, it was like, oh, I kind of had like this wave of relief and thinking, well, now I can rewrite the scene. How would I rewrite it?
The public river. This hole is reserved for me and my wife. You don't even know how to keep your own hole in.
And then it ended up being even better because we ended up doing it as a podcast and then show more time of them at space telling the story in past tense.
And that's where things got juicy. A series of insults ensued, turkey sauce, back brain.
My favorite was fusty lugs.
That awful situation kind of forced me to be more creative and figure out a new way to do the scene, and I like how it turned out a lot better.